Hi, I'm JP.
And I'm Adam.
I've never seen Lost.
I have.
I'm told that it's good.
I liked it.
I'm told that it made sense.
Sort of.
But we're watching it out of order.
So it definitely won't make sense.
But it might still be good. Since we won't expect it to make sense, we'll still be able to appreciate each episode on its own merits as a 1-hour story.
Sometimes 2 or 3.
As opposed to just a fraction of an ongoing, sprawling, and increasingly complex tangle of relationships, personal stories, mysteries, mythologies, experiments, social dynamics, unnatural disasters, unanswered questions, and hot tropical hookups.
Are you okay?
I'm not sure.
Because you lost me a little bit there at the end.
Well, good, because I've been lost since the beginning.
We're Lost on Lost. Welcome, everybody, to Lost on Lost. My name is Adam Busher, and I'm joined, as always, by the King of Swing, J.P. Russell.
Yeah, swing man. I'm a swinging. That's me.
JP, before we get started, I want to make a topical announcement.
Ooh.
Sort of a timely sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
This episode will be airing in November.
Yeah.
It is not November.
No.
But just this past week from when this episode will be first originally airing, my little brother, Cousin Arthur, is dropping his debut single.
Ooh, dropping them beats.
Yep, and he's for a track that he's been working on for a long time called Keepsakes.
Yeah.
It's a super good track. It's already up on Spotify. You can find it there. In addition to the track being on Spotify, you can also see a music video to accompany the track on YouTube, which you shot for him, right?
I don't remember. I was pretty drunk. Yeah, no, just Arthur and I got to run around and be artsy folk with camera and music, and it was super fun, so go check it out on the YouTubes.
Yeah, you guys just bombed around Appleton and Shawano, and yeah, the music video, I've already watched it like 3 times. It's amazing. I listened to the track on Spotify like 10 times. Just check it out. He's my little brother. I'm super proud of him. I'm super proud of my co-host for the work he did on the video. It's all good. It's all awesome. It's all local. Just suck it up, suck up that local content. That's a weird way to put that. Should we get back to our regularly scheduled Lost content?
I suppose.
All right, here we go. Today we're talking about the other 48 days, the 7th episode of season 2 and the 32nd episode. Overall, our centric characters are everyone's favorite all grown-up cast of The Lord of the Flies. Ana Lucia Cortez, Dr. Bernard Nadler, Elizabeth Libby Smith, and of course, Mr. Echo. It is the tailies, y'all. The other 48 days takes place on, go figure, days 1 through 48 after the crash of Oceanic Flight 815. JP?
That's me.
Got a recap for us?
I do.
Hit it.
So if you've never blacked out in Ashwaubenon, Wisconsin, this episode is basically the same thing. We get a look at the first 48 days of the illustrious tailies. Long story short, they do terribly, absolutely terribly, because they're missing a vital member of the team, John Locke.
How dare you?
Yeah, shut up. Libby defends her thesis, Goodwin shows off his chiropractic skills, and Bernard has a first-class seat on Spirit Airlines. We are joined, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary listeners, by a very special guest today. We have the one, the only. Well, it's normally we go, this is the part where I question whether or not we do first names and last names. Today, we have a guest with a qualifier and a last name. We have Coach Brandel.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the show, Nick.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks for, I know this episode is airing sometime in November. It is currently a very hot day in June, and we are crammed in my upstairs with equipment that's not working. So thank you, first and foremost, for your patience with dealing with all of this.
What's the temp local?
It was 88 last time I checked.
But we're drinking red wine and bourbon, so hey.
There you go.
And to all the people listening in November, even though that's a lot of years in the future, I mean, can you believe what's been going on with Aaron Rodgers? Unbelievable so far. I would not have predicted it back in June.
Don't even joke about that.
I'm going to leave that there.
You shut up, you. Nick, please tell us a little bit about your history with the show Lost. Now, you watched in its original run, correct? Because all 3 of us watched the finale together.
Yes.
That was only the 2nd episode of Lost I'd seen at the time. And you have rewatched it since, correct?
During last summer, during the indoor time that we all had, I don't know where this episode came from, but there was an episode on TV. I don't know if it was like one of those free streaming services that has, crappy TV shows on 10 years after the fact, but an episode of Lost was on, and I just decided to watch it, and I realized I don't remember this episode. Like, I did not remember it.
Sure.
So I'm like, well, I'm going to torture myself and I'm going to rewatch the whole thing.
Time is the most precious commodity, and you realize that you...
Well, the list of shows that I binge watched since, March of 2020 is long and distinguished. I can tell you that.
What? I mean, do you want to give us like a sampling or like, because you have a legal pad with you, which is pretty intimidating.
And this was a full legal pad before I started this episode. Lost was one of them. Cheers.
Doesn't Cheers have like 16 seasons or something?
It's up there.
Okay.
Coach with Craig T. Nelson.
That makes sense.
New Girl.
Oh, good one.
Which I enjoyed. Hill Street Blues. I watched the entirety of Hill Street Blues.
So good. Love Hill Street Blues.
A show called Revenge that was on ABC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one my girlfriend told me to watch. And that's as weird for me to say as it is for you guys to hear.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend says, "Oh, watch this show," and we watched that one together. Then she recommended one called The Rain, which was a Netflix show. It is basically the Danish Lost. It's a Danish, like, post-apocalyptic, this rain comes in and they're trying to find their way and survive, and every actor's last name ends in Gaard. It's awesome.
Adam, I've been wondering what we were going to do after we're done with Lost. I think
we've got a strong front runner.
But we can only record when it's raining in both Los Angeles and Milwaukee.
I watched the UK version of Whose Line Is It Anyway? Every episode of Saturday Night Live from 1975 to 1980. CNN's History of Comedy, Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations, Rick and Morty, the old...
You watched all of No Reservations?
Yes.
I mean, we were all stuck. We were all on collective timeout for a long time.
Yeah.
I suppose.
The old Supermarket Sweep. And then I'm currently on season 7 of Mythbusters.
Nick, you doing okay?
I'm doing great.
All right.
I gotta tell you.
Okay.
I started watching Mythbusters, and then Carrie Byron liked one of my tweets, so I'm living the high life at this point.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I was deemed an essential worker. I had 10 days off. So I just, anyways.
But yeah, Lost. I watched it again, and then, like, after I rewatched it again, then you guys were doing this, and I'm like, whoa.
Perfect timing.
The stars are aligning.
When you finished your second rewatch, how'd you feel about it compared to the original run?
I was less angry. I can say that. I mean, I kind of knew it was happening, so I was just looking for other things in there. And
right,
because when the first time it went through, I watched it, and then there were like these radio shows, morning radio shows. I knew which day of the week they had their Lost recap going on, and I was online. There were forums, and we were doing all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yes, I was knee deep into it. What is the smoke monster?
Well, and Adam, you've said very early on in our podcast that it was one of those cultural sort of like water cooler.
Yeah, it was like
shows.
the water cooler show, and like from at least in my memory, one of the last like great broadcast water cooler shows. Like there are still shows like this that exist, but just the way we consume television has now changed. Something like Lost, I don't think has captured the attention of such a broad swath of the American audience, of the worldwide audience. It's like, Game of Thrones, like there are popular shows, Game of Thrones and stuff like that, but like Lost, everybody had their fingers in it. Everybody had an opinion, and
and it's network television. It wasn't an HBO. It wasn't a Sopranos where you had to have a subscription. It was just on basic ass television.
I mean, on Game of Thrones' best day, they did. I think their best premiere or finale was like 9 million viewers or something like that. Like Lost was regularly still into the 6th season, I think, doing over 10 million for even its worst episodes, and because it was on broadcast.
HBO's numbers were probably much higher because they're not counting those of us on the Pirate Bay. Oh, awesome. Well, Nick, thank you for coming to talk with us. I know we've wanted to have you on for a while, but the episodes we specifically want to have you on for are in the latter half of our show. So we just sort of picked one at random, and I'm very excited. You're here for this one.
If this was a random number out of the 106 episodes, you picked a gem.
Yeah. So
Adam, we'll talk about it. Should we talk about it?
Let's get into it, man. Let's do it.
The other 48 Days originally aired on November 16th, 2005. It was written by Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. Damon Lindelof, of course, best known for his 6-issue miniseries Ultimate Wolverine vs. the Hulk that was suspended after the second issue due to his heavy workload elsewhere. And Carlton Cuse is recently known as the co-creator of the 8-part CIA propaganda video Jack Ryan, starring John Krasinski. This episode was directed by Eric Laneuville, who is a very busy TV director, but he had an acting career before he became a director, and he was in Death Wish with Charles Bronson.
Oh, hell yeah. Wow. Now we're talking. Wait, just Death Wish the original, or like Death Wish 3?
Like all of them.
I think the first one.
Oh, so he's not the giggler? Then I don't care.
But yeah, so the other 48 days. If you like flashbacks, the whole thing's a flashback from start to finish. Like,
yeah, it's wild. I mean, I joked that it was like blacking out in Ashwaubenon, but like, for how much ground they had to cover in this, I actually, up until the last 3 minutes, they did a really good job of just moving really quickly.
And I've mentioned this before in previous episodes, like I had mentioned how I was looking forward to talking about this. This is actually one of my favorite episodes of Lost. And I think you nailed why I like it so much, is the pace of it. It doesn't quit moving.
Yeah, it's super, super good.
And this is, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only episode of Lost that from the beginning of the show to the end of the show technically goes in chronological order. There aren't any flashbacks.
I believe you are correct.
This is what's...
Yeah, I think, because there's a handful of episodes that take place entirely on the island. This is one of them. Mm-hmm. There are a handful of episodes where we don't see, like, the big cast members, Locke, Jack, Kate, like whatever. Then this is one of them. But yeah, I think you're right. I think this is the only one that's start to finish.
There was also, at least while we were watching it, so Nick had watched this on his own and then watched it when he came over today, because I needed to watch it and I was behind schedule. But there was no episode recap with this. I was futzing around with my audio, and I was like, we don't watch episode recaps in this house because I'm an idiot. And then Nick was just very calmly saying, you're missing it, you're missing it, you're missing it, you're missing it. And then I look up and just see chaos. I'm like, oh shit, there was no episode recap. Okay.
Yeah. I was all prepared to skip it. But yeah, like, it's just this beautiful vista, this gorgeous beach, quiet sort of wind and waves, just kind of like...
Yeah, it starts out as a Corona commercial. That's what we're watching, is a Corona commercial.
Exactly.
That's the first thing I thought of for those first 10 minutes. It's like, okay, where's the cooler coming in now?
I thought of a Cialis commercial.
With a bathtub.
Just picture Bernard in a bathtub instead of a tree. It's the same thing.
Yeah. And so our refreshing cool drink advertisement is interrupted rudely, I might add, by the careening end of what we all know is it's the tail section of Oceanic 815. It just comes flying in and just like
really quick, what is everyone's first note? I would like to know what your first note is in your notebook.
I started off with Corona commercial.
Okay.
And then it says spinning tail section, parentheses, no one survives.
Okay. My first note is no one survived that.
Same thing. I was like, so we know what happened to everybody that's not the 4 people at the end of the episode. They all dead. Like, everybody's dead. Like, there's a primary thing here that I think maybe in the first run through of this, like, maybe not a lot of people latched onto right away or something like that, but like the middle section of the plane landed on the beach. A bunch of people landed in trees or whatever. Like, the tail section landed out in the water. That's straight up a bunch of people just drowned. Like, that's what happens.
I don't want to get too much into this. I'm very much a practical effects guy, and I appreciated it. And obviously, the pilot is a pilot. You have so much more time and resources available when you're filming a big sort of studio or big network pilot. And I thought that the crash scene of the pilot holds up so well. Like, it looks so good. This, obviously, because, we're in season 2, this is episode 7. We just got to get into it because we have a story to tell. CGI doesn't really hold up as well. It looks a little rough, but they do a really nice job of immediately, like, all right, we're going to move past the CGI. It's not about that. We have a lot of character stuff we're about to introduce you to.
Pay no attention to the fake plane. We have stuff to talk about. Yeah. And so, like, this is day one. And this was one of the things that I actually really liked. Another thing I liked about the episode was the just the cards, like the fade to black, and then the counting of the days as time goes by. So, like, day one comes up, and then we see, like, the immediate aftermath of the crash, just like we saw in the pilot, how, like, they're trying to get organized and save people. Jack's, running around, Charlie, Boone, everything's freaking out. This, the chaos in the tail section is similar, but everybody's making this, like, attempt to get to dry land, because otherwise, they're all gonna drown. They get on the beach. We start to see our sort of pilot shots of our tailies. We see we see Ana Lucia, we see Echo. Ana Lucia saves a little girl named Emma.
With the improper head tilt method of CPR, I mean, that kid should be dead, because that airway was basically closed when she was breathing into her mouth.
I mean, so the kid comes back and coughs up the water, and, it comes out, and then the kid, like, coughs twice, and then is talking, "Where's my mom?" Have you ever, like, had water go down the wrong pipe? You think you're dying for 30 minutes. There's no way it's 2 coughs, and then you're just, "Where's my mommy?" I probably, no.
Also, look at how white those children are. They grew up in the suburbs. They grew up with a swimming pool. Why weren't they able to swim? What's going on there? I don't care. Plane crash, no plane crash. Learn to swim.
Also, does the nickname Tailies bother anybody?
No.
I was never a fan of it.
When I first saw it, all I could think of was like a failed 60s English prog rock band or something. It's like, we were the Tailies,
Oh, you mean Charlie's band?
we were gonna make it big. We had a gig lined up at the Biltmore with Hendrix, and he bloody died on us. And no one ever heard of the Tailies. No one ever heard of the Tailies ever again.
Yeah, and the Gravedigger monster truck came and ran him over. Anyways,
I was never a fan of the phrase "the tailies," but I think it's one of those things. It's like in the days of the show when it was airing, like they just started. Somebody called them that. Somebody in the in the internet or in the fan community called them the tailies, and then that's just what they're.
What do you call them? Stern?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, and that's what I was going to say. Like, I never liked it, but I also never thought of anything else. Like, I never came up with a nickname, so it's better than anything I ever thought of. A couple other things happen on day one. Like, we meet Libby. Also, we meet Goodwin. We meet Bernard. This is all like very chaotic as they sort of try to get organized themselves as well. Libby sets some dude's leg. She tells a story about whatever. She's a clinical psychologist. She sets this dude's leg. It's horrible. There are a lot of things in this episode where I was like, oh my god! Like I saw it. I was like, I don't like it. That was the first of many.
Well, it is interesting because we're drawing a direct comparison to how things shook out for the main cast of survivors, and here we are with Jack giving shit to Boone, just kind of barking out orders. He's doing the best that he can, but his bedside manner has, it's lacking quite a bit. Whereas Libby's doing the best she can with her degree in what's her degree in
clinical psychology.
Clinical psychology. Thank you, Nick. Ana Lucia is a disgraced cop who has probably basic CPR, and she's like, "Hey, we're gonna try."
Yeah,
it's interesting to see the comparison
between Ana Lucia, Libby, and Jack. They make one good doctor,
and 2 out of 3 of them are super into killing people.
Now, are we supposed to believe like? Okay, opposite sides of the island, opposite sides of the plane. Are there like bizarro worlds that are like? So Libby is the bizarro Jack, and like Ana Lucia is the bizarro Sawyer.
Oh,
I mean, does it look that way?
Yeah,
okay,
I like it. I like that.
I mean, because like you said, Jack is barking out. Libby's doing the best she can.
Yeah,
Ana Lucia is,
I wonder the same thing every time I get on a plane. I assume that there's an opposite of me that like doesn't have plantar fasciitis and does know how to spell Delaware. So like, I just assume that that's
because Echo's the Bizarro John Locke.
100%.
Oh, fuck. Nick, what? Stop. Where's my red wine? What did you just say?
Echo's the Bizarro John Locke. It's that's the doppelganger, the Jekyll Hyde on the other side, right?
Love this theory so goddamn much.
I mean, you could go far.
We're gonna have to do a 3-part miniseries on Bizarro Lost universe.
Oh shit, Nick, that's good.
Hurley and Bernard are Bizarro characters. I mean, we can make.
Slow down, okay? I'm still processing that thing you said about Locke and Echo.
Yeah.
Speaking of Echo, night one.
Oh, God.
There's some sort of creepy people in the jungle, and they try and snatch some folk, and Echo straight up beats 2 of them to death with a rock.
Night one, you are coming down from this adrenaline high from surviving a plane crash.
Let me say that
one more time.
Nobody should have survived.
Right. You just survived a plane crash, and Mr. Echo straight murders 2 of the others who we have come to find out not only in this episode but throughout the podcast are not to be messed with. And Mr. Echo changed his shirt from white to red off screen, and it was erotic. I love Echo so much.
And this was after when he was on the beach, he, saved as many people as possible. And then got the 2 kids.
Yeah.
And went to, was it Libby? Mm-hmm. Or was it?
Yeah.
That said, so. Stay with this nice lady. Will you watch these kids? I have something to do.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all I thought about was the Simpsons episode. It was like, kids, everything's going to be okay. All right, everyone get your corpse handling gloves on. Because he goes in the ocean and starts pulling the bodies out. He's like going to be the rescue person.
Also, I'm sorry, I don't mean to go back. I know we've already moved on to the next scene, but the little kid's like, is she going to be okay? And he says she's going to be fine. Don't promise that to a kid.
Yeah, don't ever say that.
Currently, his sister is dying. Do not say that.
But maybe
I understand he's trying to comfort a child.
Maybe he had like guidance from God or something like that. He's clearly a man of faith.
Yeah.
I don't think it was it day one, or maybe it was one of the other early days, but like Bernard asked him, he's like, hey, you were the one who you brought the bodies ashore, like, did you see an
African? That was day one.
And he's like, did you see an African American woman? I'm worried about my wife. And he's like, no, but I'll pray for her, and so it's like
it just made me also love that whole relationship with Bernard and what's his wife's name? Rose. Bernard. It just made me love Bernard and Rose again. Just knowing,
we've seen a little bit. Yeah, we've seen a little bit of what Rose is like without Bernard, and it's just like, the 2 of them, their love is so pure. It's just like when they're without the other, they're thinking, oh, I really hope they're okay. I'm worried for them, and they never once doubt. Like once Bernard realizes that Echo didn't drag Rose's body ashore, like he's like, I think she might still be alive, and I'm gonna pray that she is. It's like. Mm-hmm. I love that relationship.
So we have some others. They have tried to infiltrate the camp. Mr. Echo kills them. I just have a note here. Mr. Echo, please break me in half like a Kit Kat. Then our flight attendant, whose name I don't believe.
I don't think they ever give it to us. It's Cindy.
Cindy informs the survivors that they were flying in the wrong direction for 2 hours. So they need to light a signal fire. They need to do something because no one knows where to look for them.
They were off course. And this is information that I think the tailies get much earlier than the middle section survivors get.
Yeah.
Because
big time.
Jack and Kate and Charlie find the co-pilot or the pilot or whoever, and he tells them about the broken radio and the thing or like that. So Jack and Kate and Charlie, at least Jack and Kate know that they were off course. I don't know how quickly they shared that with the rest of the middle section survivors. Like, I don't know if that was disseminated immediately.
I mean, it was Kate and Jack. They probably waited till the 48th day.
Yeah, easily.
Not big on keeping secrets, babe. Shut up, Jack.
Yeah. So then our friend with the broken leg, we're informed that he's getting worse. and then he dies.
That was a quick one. Like, I don't mean to laugh at the death of a character,
that was
but
pretty quick, yeah.
Day 3. He's not getting any better. What do you want me to do about it? Day 5.
And then they show the funeral with the makeshift graveyard that they have there. And hey, make sure you bring the kitties to the funeral, right?
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? They were further away from the water table than when they buried Shannon. So
That's true. That's a good point.
I appreciated that. There was some greenery around. It assumes that, there's some sort of topsoily situation going on.
This area of the jungle obviously has like perpetual care, not like the middle section graveyard, which is a little bit more low rent. I counted 8 graves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't decide if that's how many people were in the tail section or just that's how many bodies they recovered. I also wonder if they buried the 2 others in the graveyard.
2 people, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, for sanitary reasons that you don't have a dead body rotting near your camp, I would assume so. But it's also like, fuck you,
Right. We're gonna tie these up on the trees outside of our camp as a warning. There's real Mad Max out here.
Mm-hmm. So then we spend a couple of days on the beach, just sort of lighting signal fires and waiting for a rescue of some sort.
Catching chickens. They have a little bit of a beach mess around trying to grab a wild chicken.
You ever try to catch a chicken?
Chicken's a universal bird. I've had to do that before in a survival training course that I went to for the Army. It's not that hard to catch a chicken. I'm just going to put that out there.
I'm going to argue with that. You must have had some pretty tame chickens right there. If you got some good free-range farm chickens, they're tough.
All right, so by the time this episode airs, we can probably get a Patreon together, and you folks that are paying extra are going to see Brandel and I catch chickens.
We're going to get 2 chickens and set them loose in JP's backyard. Coach and JP are going to get out there. We're going to see who can catch theirs quicker.
The 2 chickens are named Ross and Perot. And
we got to get them.
Here we go. Day 12.
They catch the chicken day 7. So then the next day we see is day 12. The tailies are starting to arm themselves. They're getting their sticks, they're getting their rocks, they're getting their trying to put together some makeshift weapons. Ana Lucia catches one of these other survivors, Nathan, coming back from the bathroom, presumably. At least that's his excuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she's like super like. They've created the system. It's like we go to the bathroom in pairs, that way, nobody's alone and all that stuff. And it makes sense. It's a good system, especially if you're in what we now are all aware is hostile territory. Like,
I have the exact same system in my house.
It's always pairs.
Yeah, always.
JP and Al.
My overweight cat.
Bathroom
we both
buddies.
have a box. Yeah, we both have a box downstairs. Yeah, I mean it's everyone's very much on edge, and it's odd that our new friend Nathan seems to have gone into the jungle on his own.
Yeah. So that night there's some more kidnappings happening, and Ana Lucia kills one of them, and on the body of this other, they search his pocket, no wallet, no keys, just like the other one. They find a list of names. Or not a list.
Yeah.
Is it a list of names? Is it? Yeah, it's a list of names.
Yeah.
Physical descriptions,
what they're wearing.
clothes. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and so like that gets real. Like that pushes everybody even more on edge. And
and a knife. They found a knife, which we'll get to later.
Oh,
They
we're
found
going
a
to
knife.
talk about that fucking knife.
The specifics of the knife we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a new 45-minute segment on the podcast for JP. He's going to get deep into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we on the podcast, at least I don't remember where it lands in terms of the actual chronological episode of the show, but we had a run-in with the others where we see them walking just absolutely silently. And they do the same thing. They just get into camp. You have to imagine by this point, I mean, it's day, what is it here? It's day 12.
Yeah.
So they've they have systems in place. They have systems for the bathroom, so they have to have some sort of systems for sleeping as well, whether that be some sort of, noise, tripwires or something like that, or somebody staying awake, and the others just blow right past it. They've been able to breach whatever systems they have in place and just start grabbing people.
Well, and that's one of the other comparisons that you can draw between the middle section and the tail section is that the middle section had all these like supplies, like they were able to go through luggage and find XYZ. They, like we saw in that episode, they made alarms out of like bags of aluminum cans and all that stuff. Like the supplies that the tail section survivors were able to like rat fuck from the plane were like non-existent. Like they had, because the tail section sank, like they have like no parts of the plane to salvage.
It was just like scrap metal, and from some of their sticks that they had, I'm assuming some boomerangs.
Yeah. Right. Well, they came from Australia. I mean, there was one point where someone was like basically eating stuff out of the sand because they were just like foraging. It's like everyone else is kicking back and Hurley's handing out peanut butter to Claire to eat with her goddamn hands. Meanwhile, these folks are just like, is sand nutritious?
If it makes my teeth feel weird.
Don't eat that sand. I know you have a gluten allergy. The gluten-free sand is another 500 meters closer to the...
Oh, that's where we buried the bodies.
I can't have silica.
That night, Goodwin tries to defend Nathan from Ana Lucia. He's like, Nathan's cool. It's all good. Like, try and relax.
Yeah.
Like, natural peacemaker because he was in the Peace Corps, I guess. Day 15.
Yeah, day 15. The only note I have is we get a 5-minute break.
Yeah, they leave the beach. They get to a creek. They find some fruit trees nearby. They got a rock wall to their back, which I don't actually ever see. Nathan pointed out.
Yeah.
But apparently that's all there. And so this is the good spot. Nathan's like, keep walking if you want. This is it. I'm here. It's like the Wooderson, like, you coming? I'm here, man.
It's the Mitch Hedberg. If you're ever lost in the woods, just build a house. Then you're home.
Then you're there.
Day 17 is pretty interesting to me.
Well, and why? Why?
Well, because I dug up my backyard, not only last summer, but also this summer. I spent 3 weeks digging up a small area of my very small backyard last year. Ana Lucia built the biggest goddamn hole I've ever seen a human dig in 48 hours? 48 hours.
48 hours, yeah.
And it's just impressive. That's all I have to say. Yeah. It's fucking impressive.
I mean, it's not like she had anything else to do.
That's true.
And it's not just digging the hole. It's, actually moving it and having the pile where it's not going to like collapse back in or everything. It's the planning.
Well, and it's getting the dirt up over that hole
to a spot that's going to be out of your way,
especially when you have to climb something to get out of it. Yeah, it's impressive. I think she missed her calling.
Building the lid like that. She made a makeshift cage lid out of sticks and
bamboo sticks. Yeah.
I think Bear Grylls has just been sleeping this whole time.
Well, who had to have been sleeping was the rest of the survivors, because not once has anybody asked, "So, I'll see you. What are you doing over there? Building a tiger pit?"
Digging a hole. It's therapeutic.
Starting with the basement.
Going from there. You
Good
guys remember
idea.
those videos of primitive technology on YouTube? I'm going to see if I can maybe make us a hot tub or something.
I'm doing a 2-story walkout. Where are you walking out to? The center of the goddamn earth? Day 19, we start with a fucking kick to Nathan's stupid face.
Just like Nathan and Bernard just like chilling, just like, what's going on? Pow.
There's very much been I know we've really been flying through this because there's a lot of scenes, but some of the interactions we've seen between Ana Lucia and Nathan, there's very much a power dynamic with this group. Yeah. Not dissimilar to how Jack is sort of perceived by the rest of the group. Ana Lucia I think is a little bit, I don't want to say based on fear, because she's not intimidating people like physically or threatening them, but she's definitely like, hey, I can make decisions. What the fuck
yeah.
is anybody else doing?
Yeah, I think it's action. It's the rest of the tale survivors don't necessarily know what to do, and Ana Lucia, regardless of if the decisions are good or not, she's making them. Yeah, she's taking action.
Yeah.
She's moving, and that sort of puts her into this de facto leadership position.
Yeah, so when it comes to the time of, I'm just going to kick Nathan in his fucking chompers and throw him in a hole, everyone else is like, I guess we're going along with this.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because he, no one remembered him on the plane after 2 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I were there, if I were one of the survivors and I saw Ana Lucia kick him in the head and then throw him in the hole, I'd be like, so that's what she was doing that for.
I haven't flown many times in my life, but if you stop me the minute I got off the plane and say, describe 10 people on your flight to me, I wouldn't be able to do it.
No.
I've gotten off of flights and not known what the person sitting next to me looked like.
Yeah, it'd be a coin flip if I remembered the person right next to me. Exactly.
I could drive home tonight and stop at like the Mequon Road Quick Trip, and you could buy like a monster, and on the way out you could ask me, what did your cashier look like? And I'd be, I don't fucking know. What do you
It was either a
I'll get my
55-year-old woman or a high school student. One of two.
I'll get to my car after this, and you could ask, whose house were you at? I don't remember. What is
somewhere between 4'3" and 7'13"? I don't know.
How can you base? No one remembers you on the plane. Okay, that's probably a good thing.
That was something I said earlier, or I wrote down. I wasn't going to bring this up, but they were like talking about how they were, Oceanic Flight 815. I'm like, I've been at the boarding gate and not known what my flight number is. I'm just looking at destinations. Like, I don't know what number it is. I'm the asshole going to Ponca City, Oklahoma. Like,
and then just to reinforce the power of the human memory, Cindy, the Oceanic 815 employee, who's real good with faces, she's like, I don't remember him either. It's like, well, he was on the plane.
yeah, you know why you don't remember him? Because you didn't bring him that ginger ale he asked for.
or he ordered a ginger ale, you brought it to him, and then he never made another request. He was the only people that I would assume flight attendants remember are the assholes.
Are the jerks.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's absolutely true. Where the fuck were we? Day 19.
Day 19, Ana Lucia throws Nathan in Tiger Pit. Day 23, Ana Lucia continues to
we just got to keep flying through this. Jesus Christ. I have so many notes left.
There's a lot. This is halfway through the 48 days this episode covers.
Day 23, he gets a banana.
The mystery banana.
Ana Lucia figures that out, throws a rock at him, asks who it was, figures out it's Mr. Echo, and doesn't do a goddamn thing about it.
Oh, the guy with the stick?
Oh, the force of nature, the unmovable object that is for some reason on our side? Yeah, okay, I'm going to ask him politely not to do the banana trick anymore. Fuck.
Goodwin says we should let him go. And she's like, well, I haven't started torturing him yet. So, I still have some options. She says she's going to cut off his finger, next. That's her plans for day 24.
So she's also the Bizarro Saeed. Okay. This is good.
Good. That does not sit well with Goodwin. He's not prepared to let Ana Lucia cut Nathan's finger off. So he stages a jailbreak that night, heads out to the pit, opens it up, throws the rope down, helps him out. He's like, hey, man, you got to bail. Ana Lucia's got your number. Just
here's
the beach is that away. Here's some fruit.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, cool. I'm going to walk through the jungle with no light, 5 miles in any direction with 4 mangoes. I'll probably be fine.
You'll be fine.
Snippety snap.
Yeah, fortunately for him, he didn't have to worry about it to making it to the beach. Because Goodwin fucking murders him.
We were watching this episode with Kai, and she just goes, he looks like he's done that before. That was super effortless.
Yeah.
Which is mildly terrifying considering the next scene that we get.
And so this is like sort of the reveal here. It's like there was an infiltrator. The paranoia was justified. Goodwin's an infiltrator. Goodwin's one of the others. Like, and it's the shades of Ethan from the middle section. Like Ethan ingratiated himself in the middle section and flew under the radar forever until a child figured out that he was not supposed to be there.
Yeah. We cut to the next morning, and Goodwin is just throwing the world's creepiest look at Ana Lucia as she wakes up. And all I could think was,
about that. Holy shit. That's
like,
right.
Ana Lucia, listen, she's got a troubled past, right? She's doing the best she can. No one deserves to be looked at that, but she also just dealt with creepy McFuck Christian Shepherd who was like, I'm just sitting in Australia with me, dear Cuddle Bumpkins. And now she's got this guy just like, good morning. And I'm like, oh man, can anyone just back off a little bit?
I didn't think about that till just now. Like as she's trying to collect her thoughts post the crash day one, like she's still got that weird bullshit from Christian still swarming around in her head. Like she's trying to recover from this thing. And
this guy flew me to Australia and he definitely was trying to fuck me. Like,
and then he died.
And look where it got me.
Yeah, then he died.
He died.
Yeah.
Jeez. I have a note here for day 20 or day 24. They decide to move because obviously Nathan got whacked, so the others know where they are.
Yeah,
probably a good idea. I have a note here for day 26 that just says a beach. So I don't remember what happened on day 26.
They just came to a beach, which I assume means that they have reached the other side of the island or have circled back to some edge, you know. Either way, it's disconcerting because they were trying to get away from the beach, and now it's inescapable. They are, in fact, on an island.
They have no idea how to, prevent themselves from circling back on their own tracks because they don't have a tracker. They don't have a JL. Right. They don't have John Locke, And it's just another instance of what the middle section survivors had that made their lives so much easier compared to...
I mean, they've got Mr. Echo, but he ain't saying shit.
No. He's just in the back, quiet. Not talking, thinking to himself, we're going in a circle. But I can't say anything. Day 27, they find a door.
Yeah.
That would
a quarantine door, which is very fitting.
I painted that on the inside of my apartment last summer.
It's weird. Nick bought a house 3 years ago, and the door said that. I don't know what that was
right on there.
It's strange.
With an arrow on it as well.
Yeah, like enough weird shit has happened to the tailies in the first month. Like this would not help my mental well-being to find this door and to open it and just to see all this weird shit. Like I would just be like, if it were me, it's like the family in the haunted house thing. I'd open it. They go inside. They find a Bible, a glass eye, a radio, and I'd be like, we're not staying here. This is obviously haunted.
Right. No, I wrote down, I was like, I put glass eye, Bible, radio. This is either a Mad Lib or what triggers the MK Ultra, like Manchurian Candidate CIA sleeper cells. So, but hey, I mean, it's something. We now have a roof over our head. We have some sort of electricity, which
it's got power.
I have to assume is probably running off the same geothermal system that the hatch is running off of. I mean, otherwise, batteries would die eventually if it's still got some juice in it.
Yeah, it's connected. Maybe it's either self-sustaining power or it's connected to some kind of grid, like one of the two.
Yeah, so it's something, but it also, we've crashed on this island. It's weird because there's other people trying to kill us, but now this is our first sign of something other than these weird people that are hunting us. This is some sort of physical structure.
Goodwin volunteers to go to higher ground with the radio. They turn it on ever so briefly, and he's like, the mountains are blocking it, I'll fix it. It's like that, like...
Which, that happened with it in the pilot, too.
Yeah. But, like, the way Goodwin, like... Bernard had the radio. He turned it on. It was on for 2 seconds. And then Goodwin snatches. He's like, it's not working. I'll fix it. It's like, like, dude, you went a month without being too sus, but you fucked up now.
Now it's bad.
There was some editing choices when they talked about Nathan and they talked about someone infiltrated us. There were several times where they cut specifically to Goodwin where, being a somebody that watches a lot of films, I was like, okay, why are we keep cutting back to him? But if the plan later on down the road is to get them to potentially talk on the radio and give away their position, why not let Bernard just yammer away?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Hey, we're plane crash. We're by a door with an arrow on it. Like, and if you're the others, you're like, oh, we know where that is.
Yeah. We'll come pick you up 7:30.
We got it.
The rescue is on the way. Do you think they can see me doing air quotes over rescue? Turn the radio off.
So yeah, then Goodwin decides he's going to go to the top of the bluff or mountain or whatever.
And Ana Lucia finally, like,
need
Rubik's
company.
cubes it out. Like, yeah, she's like, I'm not letting him go by himself. Like, it finally pieces it together. Not that necessarily he did, like I said, until this point, he was doing a good job of keeping a low profile, I think.
Yeah, no, super good.
Yeah, so they make it to high ground, bust out a snack, take a 5-minute break, time to have a mango.
With the U.S. Army knife.
Ah, fuck, here we go.
Can I have the knife? Well,
The
yeah.
100% authentic U.S. Army knife. Used by the armies.
So I know that I'm in the, quote, new army.
Is that like new Coke?
Yeah, I suppose. Now, I don't know everything about the army, but never the fuck have I seen an army-issued folding knife.
That's where it is. It's the folding.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, your dad was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Did he come back with a folding knife?
No.
Why is that?
Probably because there were no folding knives. They don't give you a folding knife. They give you enough C4 to blow things up, and if you've blown enough things up, you can use it to cook your dinner. But that's about all they give you.
Right. She also, so when she gives the knife to Goodwin so he can cut his mango or whatever, and then she mentioned something about it being an army knife, to which I had a full-on conniption. But then she's like, no, you can tell by the roll stamp or by
she said tang stamp.
The tang stamp, which then she takes the knife back from him and says, see here. And I was expecting some like little insignia, like certain propane tanks have little tiny markers that are different shapes.
Yeah.
And it just says U.S. Army.
You can tell it's a tang stamp. Yeah. Yeah,
And
like
I was
that
like-
was bonkers. Yeah, I was like, oh, so
They could have just had on one side of the blade. It said, this knife is from the United States Army.
Right. Any bigger, and it would have just depicted the Battle of the Bulge. Like, so yeah, we had to pause for a minute and Nick and I had to scream at the TV for a moment.
There was some anger.
yeah, I was sitting here. I was looking at it. When they showed they did the insert of the tang stamp, I was just like, oh, so apparently this is the other thing we learned about the Tale section survivors. Ana Lucia is the only one who knows how to read.
But she was a beat cop. She didn't make detectives, so like there'd be a knife sticking out of someone's back, and she'd be like, I don't know what happened.
But yeah,
So yeah, she starts to kind of question him because she's putting some stuff together since Nathan's demise.
and her big payoff, her big I gotcha moment is you weren't wet. Like, we all fell in the ocean, and you came out from the jungle 10 minutes after the crash, and you weren't wet.
Right. Bernard gets a pass because he was doing the scene from Jurassic Park with the truck in the tree. But, like, I really found that interesting because I had just seen that scene minutes before, 40 minutes before, and I really had to think back. Ana Lucia, they've been at this for 30 some odd days, 40 some odd days, 30 days at this point. She's committing so much mental energy to trying to figure out who this was, and looking back and remembering that type of details has got to be difficult to actually remember what someone really looked like the first time you saw them. Nick, if I wasn't looking at you right now, I would have no concept of what color shirt you were wearing, because I'm a millennial. So I thought that being the deciding clue that she's just recently become aware of, very interesting.
It was like, how come this memory didn't pop up a week after the crash, or 2 weeks after the crash, or the day of the crash, or or
you see someone that's dry standing in front of you. Hey, that guy.
Yeah.
Well, and because she thought it was Nathan, and once Nathan shows up dead, it's like, oh shit, I gotta go over everything again. I gotta rework all this.
If she's suspecting Nathan, she's got tunnel vision, so she's not looking at the rest of the things that don't necessarily add up yet. Yeah, that's a good point. Day 41. Bernard.
She kills.
Yeah, I forgot to say that.
She kills Goodwin.
They fight, and then Goodwin's going to get the upper hand, but then she uses her spear to spear him in the spear area.
Gravity wins
after he went off the top rope.
Yeah.
She put the old spear up and down he goes.
Yeah. So, answering that age-old question, will Goodwin survive?
Oh, shit. Wait, we ran into Goodwin once, didn't we?
Yeah, he was here at the bottom of this hill, sort of like not looking in great shape.
Wait, when did we run into him? When did we run into Goodwin's dead body?
I think it was when we were doing And Found, the Sun episode. That I think it's season 2, episode 5. Because I think we saw Goodwin's corpse when after they catch Surgeon and whatever, they're walking back to the middle section. Like they walk past when Goodwin died.
Oh, fuck. Yes. All right. Now pieces are coming together in JP's brain. All right.
Put it all together.
Putting it all together.
So
yeah, so day 41. Bernard's just fiddling with the radio, just like, talk about dad energy, man. Like Bernard, just like, I only turn it on a couple minutes a day. I just want to see if it's working. It's like, I gotta, everybody's gotta have a hobby. Mine's the radio.
Again, Bizarro Hurley.
And they get a response back.
Yeah. Did you recognize the voice there, JP?
I did not. Was it Goodwin?
That'd be awesome.
No, who was it?
It was Boone.
Wait, what?
And this we have not seen yet on the podcast, the other end of this phone call.
Boone's been dead since episode 2.
But yeah, we have not yet watched the episode where Boone finds the radio. But yeah, it was Boone's voice. Hey, we're the Oceanic 815 survivors. And Bernard was like, what a coincidence.
Where is
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, no, I didn't recognize his voice because we have seen Boone in the pilot, Boone die, Boone holding a spear and a knife, and that's it.
But Ana Lucia, her paranoia is still strong. She shuts the radio off. She's like, it's a trick. It's the others. It's like, that's not, whatever. So knock it off. And then she snaps. She's like, get used to it. This is our life now. We live. Yeah. We're no longer people being looked for. We live on the island. We're islanders. This is it.
Yeah. It would be easy for maybe if the circumstances were slightly different for someone to be like, no, like we need to, this could just be another voice on the radio, because in reality it was, but for those of us who don't know who Boone is, which is the Tailies and me, like, no, that totally makes sense that it's them trying to trap you. Yeah. Like that totally checks out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you're a trusting batch of folks and you hear were there survivors of the crash, it's like, oh, there might be more survivors. Let's see if we can find them. Like, yeah, if you're trusting and you don't have the paranoia that Ana Lucia has, you collectively, the 5 surviving people, however many there are, they're like, let's go figure it out. So Ana Lucia, she breaks off by herself and she breaks down. She starts crying in the creek with the realization that this is their life now.
Yeah.
Echo comes up to comfort her, and they have this exchange, which is,
what, you talking now?
It's been 40 days.
You've been waiting 40 days to talk.
You waited 40 days to cry.
Yeah, it was.
It's a super well written scene. you can tell that Michelle Rodriguez is really trying, but doing dramatic scenes like that is not her forte. You can tell some of the sort of crying is sort of 80-yard a little bit. She's definitely trying, but this is not her comfort zone as an actor. But it still was a good scene. I liked it.
Yeah, I think
it was well written.
Yeah, I think that despite the fact that like you said, it's not necessarily dramatic is not her wheelhouse. I think she still sells it. Like I wasn't sitting there like, man, Michelle Rodriguez is a bad actor. Like,
no, it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't Blood Diamond CGI tears, but it was it was okay.
Yeah, Day 45. Cindy and Libby are on the beach doing something.
Eating sand?
Yeah.
Eating more sand.
Having breakfast. and they spot like a bit of flotsam and a dude over in the water. They're like, oh snap, our prayers have been answered. I really hope that a really hot guy would wash up on the beach. And lo and behold, it's Jin.
Oh God, I was so happy to see him.
Yeah, it was kind of in between of the, hey, we hope it's a hot guy, but we absolutely don't hope it's a corpse that's floating back up.
At first, just because of the perspective, I thought it looked like a little kid. I thought it was one of the kids that was dead.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, oh God, this late into the episode, we're going to see a dead kid. And then I saw an alive Jin. Man, I went from 6 to midnight.
JP was going the absolute worst case scenario. Let's see, what's a good way to end this episode? Is this network TV? Yeah, this is network TV. How about we have a dead child's corpse floating up at the end there? How does that sound? It's like, Jesus, Damon, are you okay?
We'll call that Plan B. Let's keep spitballing some ideas.
We'll put it on the board. We'll come back to that later. Good note. Healthy note.
There are no bad ideas. And then so Cindy and Libby they bring Jin to the rest of the group. They're like, look at, and then they also find Sawyer and Michael, and holy fuck, does Echo lay a beat down.
So okay, the rest of the episode is really where I had some problems, sort of how they structured it with the editing and the seeing of stuff that we've already seen. Yeah, it's helpful for a frame of reference. I almost wanted it to just end with Mr. Echo fucking just cold cocking him and then throwing him in the hole.
Yeah. Because the reason that the end of the episode here for days 45, 46, 47, and 48 are so disjointed is that we've literally, the audience has seen them. These days we've been seeing from the perspective of Sawyer, Michael, Jin, and everybody else. And then we here on the podcast, we've even seen the episode where Jin is eventually released from the tiger pit, and then Michael, and then Sawyer, and then they make their trek. They start heading toward the middle section of the survivors. The part we didn't see was them actually getting to the middle section.
Yeah.
Where there are some spooky whispers on day 48, and it's raining. And they're surrounded by this weird noise, and I'm assuming that Ana Lucia got her gun from Sawyer or Jin or Michael or one of the
she
rafties.
got it from Sawyer when she got thrown in the hole.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. She snatched it off of him. So, but then she can't handle it. The whispers are too weird, and she gets snuck up on by the most threatening thing that you can see on an island filled with weird kidnappy others and other snakes. It was a blonde woman.
And a little blonde Russell, yeah.
Just blast
R-U-S-T-L-E, not R-U-S-S-E-L. Yeah. Russell as in the noise.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just wanted to clear that up.
Appreciate that. No, I don't want to get shot.
Yeah, and so that's that, and one of the last things we see is Saeed's broken face.
Yeah, I mean, so now in the show we're gonna watch. So due to the fact that we're jumping around with perspective and we're jumping around with time travel, so I guess we get to see Shannon die twice and see Saeed react to that at least twice. So we have that to look forward to. That's not depressing.
I think that's the name of the next Bond movie, right? Shannon dies twice.
I like that.
The other 48 days, y'all.
Oh, man.
Jeez, what an episode.
Oh, my God. One thing, again, because Kai is funnier than I am, when all three of the guys get thrown into Ana Lucia's awesome whole pit situation. Kai said, doesn't seem like a great enclosure when you have people to stand on. And she's just always thinking of 3 children in a big trench coat.
That's a good point. Yeah. Like they can get out. Like Nathan couldn't because he was a guy, but these 3 guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Michael
the 3
and
should
Sawyer
have been
lift
able
up
to get
Jin.
out.
Jin turns around and pulls Michael and Sawyer out.
He's in there for a couple of days. He could have dug some footings.
That's
like,
what I was thinking to myself. I was like, yeah, like the wall, like she dug that hole. That it's not frozen. It's
In
not
48
solid.
hours, yeah.
I mean, she was ready to throw a rock at him, though. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe she was ceaselessly watching him. Does anybody have any remaining notes that they want to hit before we do the end of the episode segments?
I think we covered everything that I had there.
So the end of the episode, we've watched it, the other 48 days. Now we have to decide how we feel about it. Did we like it? Was it good? Is this a good 1 hour of television? Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, it's completely, for the previous episodes, it was just, fastball, and then they throw this curveball at you where now we know, we're not going to see Jack and Hurley and Locke in every episode. This one went in order, like we said, just the editing was different. Day 1, they spend how many minutes on, and then a couple of days, they day 12, it'd be like 5 seconds or something, and you just see the progression as it goes through. No, I think it's a great episode. I think if you look online with the critics and stuff, this is one of the higher rated episodes that they have for Lost too. So this is definitely a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, if you think about it, it's give or take 48 minutes long. So they have an average, if they wanted to hit every day, they would have an average of 60 seconds to talk about every day. So they picked the highlights. Yeah, they took the most important days and gave them the time, and then took the days that were not as important or still important, but only needed to show fractions. Like, yeah, I agree with you. Well cut, well edited, all that. Yeah, well paced. Very, very good. JP, how do you feel?
Yeah, the ending is where I had the most problems with how they dealt with the scenes we've already seen, sort of how it was technically edited together. I felt like we could have done more of a... It helps to give some context for some of these sort of gaps that are being filled in by this episode.
Sure.
I would have preferred sort of just like a clean-cut ending, but overall, I really, really did like this episode. Honestly, it's stupid. My favorite scene is where they just see the second beach.
Yeah.
Almost no dialogue happens, and it's nothing but it's this moment of discovery and defeat at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is some good ass writing. Like, this is really good. Yeah. I really enjoyed this episode. Yeah, it was super good.
Very good. Very cool. Let's do Lost MVPs, shall we?
Yeah.
Lost MVPs, your favorite character of the episode. Just this 45 minutes minus what they did in the past, what they'll do in the future, what you've seen in other episodes. Just this 45 minutes, just the other 48 days. Nick, who is your Lost MVP?
I'm going to go with a little curveball here myself. I thought this one over, and I looked at all the characters, and I said, okay, what made this episode? The MVP for this episode are the many and varied sticks that are used in this episode. Rewatch this episode and take out the sticks, and there's no episode.
No, you're
Holy
100%
shit, you're right.
You're 100% right.
It starts with the splint on that one guy's leg.
Yeah.
Echo makes his stick. The sticks they use for the cage to get out.
Ana Lucia's got a stick boomerang.
The stick boomerang. That they have, the spear. It's all sticks.
It's all sticks.
It's all sticks if you
Holy
think about
This
it.
is a stick
Jeez.
episode.
God, they should have called it the other 48 sticks.
That's a CCR album, isn't it?
Yeah. The sticks are my MVP for this episode.
Adam, who's your MVP?
Ana Lucia, which is, it felt weird writing it down for myself.
You know, that's not a bad pick, though.
But here's the thing. It's for a couple of reasons. Like we already touched on, like Michelle Rodriguez she's not Meryl Streep. Like,
No.
She's not Helen Mirren. She's not, but this was some very technical acting that she did, and she pulled it off. And it was unexpected for me, knowing Michelle Rodriguez from the Fast and the Furious and Resident Evil. She acted well throughout. The character was human throughout. She went from survival to paranoia to whatever, like, and then to eventually vulnerability, like proving that that thing that we think about a lot, or at least I think about a lot, is that often the strongest among us are the most vulnerable. And so she spent those 40 days being so tough and being in charge. It took 40 days for it to be too much.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this in Two for the Road. She's always cast as tough lady with khakis and a gun. And there's even moments where she had where she's with the kids talking about I don't know where your mom is, but we're gonna be okay. Like, she had to do much more of the heavy lifting in this episode than she as an actor is typically cast for, and she did a good job.
Yeah, and so that's why I went with Ana Lucia. JP, what do you say?
It's a tie for me. I don't know how to pick between the two, but is between Mr. Echo's left pec and Mr. Echo's right pec. Goddamn!
Talk about heavy lifting,
dude. You want to talk about just? It's one of those where, thank God Mr. Echo's on our side. Nick, you made the comment that when they found the door that he just opened it with his pecs.
With his pecs,
yeah. So he did like the Terry Crews sort of like. So yeah, it's a toss-up between Mr. Echo's left and right pectoral muscle.
Excellent. Good pick. The other half of this bit, Lost Forever. Who in this episode could we have done without? Minus what they did in the past, minus what they will do in the future, minus what you remember. Who is lost forever in the other 48 days? Nick.
You look at it and you look at the episode and like pretty much everyone has a pretty vital role in this episode.
Yeah.
If you take out the people that died during the episode, because you'd be like, well, halfway through, you'd probably say, like, I could do without Nathan. Well, good, because he dies. And then you're like, well, Goodwin, yeah, he's a little creepy. Well, he dies. So just by process of elimination on this one, who could you do the episode without is probably Cindy, the flight attendant.
Yeah.
I don't know what she really adds.
We didn't even say her name, did we?
I don't think so.
They
I don't think
say her
she
name.
actually got her name in the episode, no.
And the first time I watched this episode, I probably would have said Ana Lucia, just because my hatred for Michelle Rodriguez for some reason. I don't know. It's irrational. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the look on her face when she's acting that just bothers me. But no, she definitely was an MVP candidate. But yeah, I mean, you could probably do the episode without Cindy.
I think, you know what? Looking back at my notes here, I think they said on day 48, right before Shannon gets shot, they say Cindy's missing.
Oh, okay.
I think seconds before the credits roll, we get Cindy's name for the first time. I'll double check.
Wouldn't
that
it be
before
horrible if that line came after Michelle Rodriguez, after Ana Lucia shot Shannon? Just hey, I think Cindy's not here.
Cindy's missing.
Oh, that wasn't Cindy. Adam, who's your lost forever?
Oddly enough, it's Ana Lucia. Here's the thing.
Oh, care to fucking explain?
All that good shit I said about her during the MVP bit, that stands. I stand by it. I 100% agree with everything I said, and I'll repeat it in the future. Here's the other thing, though: her arrogance, her paranoia, her bullheadedness, basically every time she's not doing something awesome, she's doing something horrible. her paranoia and arrogance straight up leads to not only Nathan's death but Shannon's death.
Yeah.
So that's how I sort of like, I thought to myself, I was like, this is the two sides of a coin here, and maybe it just speaks to the quality of the writing of the episode, and maybe Michelle Rodriguez's actual like efforts in the episode to be both MVP and Lost Forever for me. But whatever. Also, fuck the police.
Kai, after she kills Goodwin, goes, does Michelle Rodriguez kill a lot of people in the show? And I said, well, she's in the LAPD, so probably.
So you just went with the whole speak of, you know what, kid, you are the best shooter on this team. You are the fastest player. You're the best defender on this team. You're the best passer. That's why it's so hard to cut you.
Exactly. JP, who's your loss forever?
Oh, there's only one loss forever because based on my comments earlier, I'm sure I'll get some fucking tweets about this or someone somewhere that will correct me about this. But the goddamn U.S. Army, because they're handing out folding knives to people. I got body armor that was so used, it's got somebody else's pit stains on it. I got a helmet that's not really bulletproof. I got a Humvee that I think fucking Taft rode in, but they're handing out fucking folding knives to people. Man, when I joined, they gave me a backpack and they said, take this backpack to basic training. You're gonna need this backpack. And then when I got there, they smoked the shit out of me because they said that backpack's not in regulations. Fuck the Army, man. I want my folding knife.
When Haas and I were moving out of our old place, he told me the exact same story about his bullshit Army backpack.
They give you a blue pen too, and they're like, here's this cool pen, and I signed something with blue ink, and I got the shit smoked out of me for using blue ink.
If it makes you feel any better, JP, I'm pretty sure you can buy a knife like the one that was in Lost at any gas station for about $8.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you want to talk about the next Christmas present? I know what he's getting. Hey, can we? I'll just take it down to our metal shop down at school. Can we stamp U.S. Army in this, please? I'm going to buy you that and a mango.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, man.
Fuck.
Burning questions. Something that was brought up in the episode that didn't get answered, that you hope was either answered in the past or will be answered in the future. Did either of you guys have burning questions?
Where did the glass eye come from? I need to know. This sounds like it's going to be familiar because it was on top, because when they folded over the blanket, it landed on the floor. It was on the top.
Is that Mikhail's fucking glass eye?
Right.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Right.
He's the only one-eyed character I know of.
Oh, that's because we haven't met the one-eyed plane survivors yet. We'll see those in season 4.
Fuck.
There's 10 of them.
Yeah. No, I don't really have any questions on this one. Adam, do you?
Just the whispers. This is the first time that we've gotten the whispers in the show. I know that in chronological order, the whispers have come up before, but this is our first time here on the podcast. So you're like,
I didn't
whispers.
know.
What are those spooky whispers?
I just thought that they were like overhearing someone else's conversation and it was interpreted as whispers. So the fact that that's a thing, I guess, yes. I would like to know more about that.
Yeah, I always focus on the minutia things like the glass eye or how many channels does that radio have? Have they tried all of them? Do they know what they're doing there? What are the settings on that thing?
Can they get 90.3 WRST FM Oshkosh?
Can they get WRST? This is what I need to know.
God damn.
Oh, very good.
Nick, thanks so much for being on the show, man.
Oh, a pleasure. Definitely a pleasure. This will be a story that'll be told many times in the future.
Or at least once in November.
Once in November, yeah.
Audience, you will be seeing Coach Brandel again.
Yeah, we'll be very excited to have you on again in the future, especially for some for some of the second half of Lost.
Well, I'm just excited for like what you said. You have hand-picked episodes, and I'm gonna look. I can think of 2 off the top of my head right now. I'm obviously not going to say what they are.
No, go ahead.
But no, I'm not going to say what they are because I want to wait to see what they are because if I watch it again, I'm already swearing in my head, thinking about some of the things in the episodes that I'm thinking of. Like it'll be an exciting podcast. Excellent. If there's. If there's any of the 2 episodes I'm thinking of.
Perfect.
Very good. Well, hey, if you're in the Fox Valley or if you're in Wisconsin, by the time this airs, check out Nick Brandel if you see him doing stand-up in the Fox Valley. He's a very funny guy.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I'm going to plug that.
Yeah, plug that.
Yeah.
We're starting to do that again. It's a lot of fun.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode of Lost on Lost.
Yeah. If you're trying to be lost with us out there in podcast land, please check out our next episode. We will be watching season 1, episode 5, White Rabbit. So grab your tequila or your warm rail gin and belly up to the bar for Lost on Lost's 4th Jack-centric episode.
Jesus. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Lost on Lost.
I'm Adam.
I'm JP.
You have any idea what's going on the show?
Negative.
Me neither. Lost on Lost is produced and edited by Adam Busher and J.P. Russell.
Recorded on location in Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Los Angeles, California.
Our show is hosted at Podbean. Find us there or wherever you find your podcasts.
Thanks to Danny Schmitz of Lost in a Name for our theme music.
Lostpedia and the community of contributors there.
Random.org for creating the watch order.
Check out our Facebook page, Lost on Lost, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at Lost on Lost 1.
Don't follow those jerks at Lost on Lost 2.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com. If you like what we're getting into here, buy us a coffee at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
That's ko-fi.com/wearelostonlost.